This is your Barbados Today evening news update for Tuesday, June the 19th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. The controversial National Social Responsibility Levy is no more. The tax, which was applied to goods imported into Barbados and on domestically manufactured goods, jumped from 2% to 10% last July 1st, triggering dramatic rise in the cost of living. Today, legislators voted to repeal the onerous tax.
What was presented to you in 2016 and then again last year was a complete sham, Mr. Speaker, because just like they did with the municipal solid waste tax, they took the monies and did not do with those monies what they said they were going to do with the people's money, Mr. Speaker. And the government simply cannot behave as if it can do as it likes. Because when you do so, you lose the faith, you lose the trust that the people would have placed in you. And we are very conscious, Mr. Speaker, that as we go about doing the business of the people, that we do so not just to rebuild that trust, not just to rebuild that confidence, but people can actually see, feel, and experience an improvement in the delivery of public services.
Citizens also got a second major ease today. Parliament approved an amendment to the Barbados Revenue Authority Act that required citizens who wish to obtain a tax clearance certificate to facilitate conveyance of land to pay all taxes, interests and penalties accrued under the Land Tax Act, Cap 78A. Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strachan, said it's not only a big benefit to businesses, but it makes for greater clarity and transparency.
This bill, as I mentioned, is only just one part of that business facilitation ethos that this government intends to undertake to unlock growth in this economy. And so therefore, where there is a lack of clarity, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Affairs and Investment shall provide that clarity to the public of Barbados. The government certainly is moving with haste to make sure that any policy that is announced, and the Attorney General can attest to that, that we are working to make sure that the appropriate legislation is brought to the people, brought to this Parliament, debated, such that policy announcements can come into effect.
Opposition leader Reverend Joseph Atherley gave his support to the measure.
One of the things that can be said without dispute is that there was not a significant enough effort being placed on growth strategies and growth aspirations in the Barbados economy, and that the burdensome regime of taxation created further impediment to the viability of businesses, both small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and of course the businesses of larger companies.
In other news this Tuesday, the new injection wells at the South Coast Sewage Plant are up and running. That's the assurance from General Manager of the Barbados Water Authority, Keith Roy Halliday, who today sought to quell alarm after a video making the rounds on social media showed the contents of the 300-foot injection wells being pushed several feet into the air yesterday. Speaking at a press conference held at the offices of the Ministry of Energy and Water Resources at Country Road, St. Michael, Halliday explained that the problem resulted because of failure to switch on manual diversions after a storm surge caused the wells to overflow.
Since late yesterday, however, a video of wastewater overflow at the South Coast plant has been circulating over the internet. The overflow occurred as a result of the wells reaching their natural capacity, and the situation was being exacerbated by the stormwater coming to the plant. This situation was, however, brought under control to a diversion of some of the diluted wastewater to the channel adjoining the swamp as an emergency measure.
Minister of Energy and Water Resources Wilfred Abrams, who was also at the briefing, told reporters that the release of the video, which was filmed by BWA staff members, was irresponsible.
It is unfortunate that it happened in the way it did. It is not a priority of ours right now to punish the individual who leaked it or focus right now is on getting the problem fixed. Obviously, we're going to speak to the members of staff and urge them to be responsible in what they put out on social media, because, as I said, we had no issue with the fact that it went. I mean, what happened. It was just that without the accompanying explanation, people read a lot more into it than they needed to, and it just, the interpretation of it, the wrong interpretation of it, got out of control.
Family, friends, members of the entertainment fraternity, and well-wishers bade farewell to calypsonian Charles Romeo Smith in a grand celebration service this afternoon. Hundreds packed the Breath of Life Seventh-day Adventist Church as moving tributes in song, poetry, and praise were offered in memory of the man hailed for his outstanding contribution to the development of the art form in Barbados. Not only was he remembered as the consummate calypsonian, but as a wonderful husband, father, and friend.
Don't be afraid, don't give up the struggle, keep your head high, you will get by.
Although he was probably one of the fiercest competitors you would ever come across in your life, he was always there to lend support. Even if it was battles against the NCF. Yes, against the NCF. If it was battles for better wages, better conditions, whatever it was, that was for the improvement of the art form and the artists themselves. Charles Romeo Smith was in the forefront of it. And he was never one of those persons who would back down.
In sports now, Sri Lanka's captain Dinesh Chandamal will miss his side's third test against the West Indies after being found guilty of ball tampering today. Chandamal was found guilty of changing the condition of the ball during the second day's play of the second test, which concluded at Groselay on Monday. He was given 2 suspension points and fined 100% of his match fee. Chandamal will now miss the day-night test in Barbados starting on Saturday. The player was suspected of using saliva and a sweet to tamper with the ball and give it more spin after television images picked it up.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. In the Bahamas, the Value-Added Tax VAT Amendment Bill got the nod in Parliament, but 4 government MPs joined 3 opposition MPs present in voting against the controversial measure. But as we hear in this report from the Nassau Guardian, the government MPs who oppose the measure could face discipline.
VAT will go from 7.5% to 12% on July 1st. But Minnis, who was wrapping up the budget debate in the House of Assembly on Monday, said the budget is not about the VAT increase. Golden Isles MP Von Miller, Centerville MP Reese Chipman, and Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine told the Nassau Guardian that Minnis didn't say anything to cause them to change their minds on their plan to vote no to the VAT increase. Bain and Grantstown MP Travis Robinson, who previously expressed his opposition to the VAT hike, declined to comment when asked whether the PM had convinced him to change his mind.
I will vote no for the increase of VAT. VAT is too high. 12% is too hard on the backs of the poor, the middle class persons in our society.
It's about the people and whether they are able to afford the consequences of such level of taxation.
But you still won't support it?
Pardon?
Would you still not support the VAT?
No, I will not support a VAT increase.
If the F&M MPs vote against the budget, they could be asked to resign their appointments or be fired.
And on the international scene, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley are set to announce that Washington will be pulling out of the United Nations Human Rights Council. The United States is halfway through a 3-year term on the main UN rights body and has long threatened to quit if it was not reformed, accusing the 47-member Geneva-based body of being anti-Israel. Reuters reported last week that activists and diplomats said talks with the United States on reforms had failed to meet Washington's demands, suggesting that the Trump administration would quit. Washington's pullout would be the latest in U.S. rejection of multilateral engagement after it pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement and the Iran nuclear deal. It also comes as the United States faces intense criticism for detaining children separated from their immigrant parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. That's news and the sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. Now, you can also sign up to our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.